Well, I said it 3 times on Friday, or once on Friday, twice Saturday morning. Gator boys stay hot, and the Gators pick up 2 more recruits here. Now, you're going to look at these and be like, okay, it's not really staying hot when you're getting 3-star level offensive linemen like we've been doing since 2015. Not many 4 and 5 stars in that time. But I think you look at the 2 recruits we're getting, there are 2 players that still have time to rise up the rankings. So we can come back to their final rankings in January or February, whenever the rankings are finalized. But right now, when you look at it, we'll start off with Javari Lucas, 3-star offensive lineman out of Belglade, Florida. He's not ranked on the 247 composite, but on the On3 industry ranking, he's 1,308th. The reason he's so low and why he's not ranked on the composite is because 2 of the 4 sites don't have him ranked yet. So ESPN and Rivals have him unranked or unrated, I guess. And then On3 has him as a 92nd best offensive tackle and 247 as the 94th best offensive tackle. He comes in at 6'5", 270 pounds, according to On3. Think he's a little bit heavier than that now, but
he's listed at 305 on 247.
Okay. That would make a bit more sense there. So, yeah, 305. Someone that we recruited who can play tackle and guard, plays right tackle at his high school. A lot like Bryce Levette when we recruited him here. He played right tackle, was listed as a tackle, but played mostly guard this past season, but is probably going to start at right tackle for us in 2025. I think the interesting thing here about Javari Lucas is a couple weeks ago, the first or the second technical visit, official visit weekend, we were supposed to have Javion Cooper, Syracuse commit 4-star offensive tackle, who I believe is 6'4", who was supposed to take a visit, but we canceled it. And from what I was told, Lucas is a take, and Javion Cooper wasn't. Now, that was 16 days ago now. Things can change, but, I mean, it feels like they like Lucas more. I don't know why. I mean, they think he's a better developmental piece. He has that 6'5" and not 6'4" frame, so that could play a part of it. Maybe they just think he's better than Cooper is, but they're going to take the guys they want, and they're not going to look at the rankings. I mean, it's just something we see time and time again.
Yeah, they've made that pretty clear. They kind of believe in their own evals here. I mean, I think there's a couple ways to look at it, because it is interesting to me that you see Florida taking a couple of these guys that are, either 3 stars or low rate or unrated on other sites, this early in the cycle, because like you'll kind of normally see those kind of takes more near the end when you have a better idea who's in and who's out. But so that kind of would either tell you that Florida doesn't feel great about his chances of getting those high-end prospects, or that they just really feel good about their evals on guys like Lucas here. I mean, it's easy to understand why. Like, wasn't super highly recruited. Like, I think it was mostly just West Virginia head-to-head that Florida was going up with here. And obviously,
yeah,
once he became a take in this class, I think that was about it. Because I mean, he's from Belglade. Like, got to assume he wanted to stay home there. But I mean, it's like decent size, another project guy. Like I think most of the offensive linemen I feel like they've taken recently have been long-term projects, which is okay because you don't really have the immediate need for playing time. Like you look at tackle, like, even though Austin Barber's gone after this year, you still have Bryce Levette, you're still going to have Fletcher Westfall, and some other guys that you've been developing. So like, I don't really see the issue with that. And like, yeah, this isn't the kind of commit that's going to, get people going crazy. But again, they're filling out the class. I mean, this was a class that was at like 2 guys, like a month ago. So
it was that one guy a month ago.
Yeah, it was at 1 guy a month ago. So, adding a guy like Javari Lucas, a talent, a high upside player, maybe a guy that, again, I think a lot of these takes that are like low rated or unrated seem like guys that could just so easily rise because they haven't been evaluated by a major service yet. Like you just don't know. Like, he's a couple, he's ESPN and Rivals from liking him away from being, maybe a borderline 4-star. You just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that simple. I mean, you just have ESPN and Rivals like him a lot, and just one good ranking can boost you up a ton compared to other guys who could just sit around that 3-star range. So, yeah, I mean, again, we look at the tackle room, we look at the guard room, we feel really good about them for the foreseeable future. It's like now when we're looking 3 or 4 years from now, and it's like, okay, are we starting Lucas? I mean, has he entered the portal? You don't really know. I think another thing to look at, with transfer portal, with NIL, this isn't just an offensive line issue, but an issue all around. Do you want to take more and more 4-stars that could transfer out your roster and maybe leave you a bit burnt, needing to go into the transfer portal to get somebody else? Or do you think it might be smarter to get a 3-star, someone who's going to be a bit more loyal to you that you can develop over 3 years, and maybe they end up starting, maybe they're your backup, but you don't have to go into the transfer portal to get somebody that might not even play here? I think it's something that we're going to see this year a lot with Billy Napier, I feel.
Yeah. And like, it's hard not to trust their evaluations because ultimately they haven't been landing these elite recruits. And in spite of that, they have an elite offensive line right now.
Yep.
They're developing at a really high level. So I'm willing to trust them on these evals. I mean, of course, we've talked about it. You would like to see like a 5-star offensive tackle commit here, obviously. But I mean, I think like these in-state guys who they're not just taking because it's late November and you have no offensive line commits and you're desperate for bodies. Like, these are guys they're taking early in the cycle when they're in the mix for other guys who are like, on paper, according to the services, better prospects. So they seem to be, pretty all in on the evaluations they've done on these guys.
Yep. The second commitment we got at noon today, Tyler Chakuyum. I think that's how you pronounce it. Also another 3-star offensive tackle out of Douglasville, Georgia. 6'6", 290. Does 247 have him listed a bit larger? Or
no, so he's listed 6'6", 290 as well on.
Okay, so great there. So the interesting thing with Tyler Chakuyum here is, so not ranked in the composite because, again, ESPN and Rivals are a bit behind. They don't have him ranked or rated. But when you look at On3 and 247, On3 has him as a 4-star on their service. The 26th ranked offensive tackle, 32nd ranked player in Georgia. 247, not a 4-star, but still their highest possible 3-star. An 89 grade, 90 would be a 4-star. He's an 89. They have him as the 36th ranked offensive tackle, 46th ranked player in Georgia. So he's unranked, just like how Lucas is. But I think you're looking at Chakuyum, and it's like ESPN and Rivals. One of them gives him a 4, one of them gives him a 3. You're talking about a player who could potentially end up being a 4-star prospect within the week even. I mean, I don't know when ESPN and Rivals will update him. I mean, considering he committed to Florida, usually those sites end up updating pretty quickly. I mean, we don't know where they're going to rank him, but I think this is some interesting player to look out for as a potential 4-star.
Yeah, some interesting recruiting interest for him too. I mean, like officially visited Ole Miss last month, was supposed to visit FSU this coming weekend, kind of assuming that visit's going to be off now, although I don't know that for a fact. So, I mean, obviously, some power conference teams wanted this guy, including Ole Miss and FSU. I mean, I think kind of what you said is right here. I think Chakuyum has the opportunity to really be a late riser in this class, just given the interest, given the fact that he's viewed so highly by the sites that have evaluated him. I mean, I think this is a nice pickup. I mean, I think again, you get 2 guys, obviously 6'6", 290, like probably a little undersized there, like probably going to need to bulk up a little bit, but I mean, decent frame for a project guy who's not going to be expected to have to contribute in year 1. So, I mean, I think these are both solid pickups. Again, like it's not going to excite anyone like as the end all be all, but I think these are nice pieces in the class that we could very easily by October or November be looking at, guys that are maybe inside the top 300 or 400, which at that point, obviously that makes it look a little bit better in retrospect. So I think that's pretty possible here. Chakuyum, a guy who kind of getting late notice in this class. So, curious to see what goes on with that.
Yeah, I mentioned it to you before the show. I was watching Chakuyum's film, and it's very different from most offensive tackles, specifically prospects we look at. He's very agile on his feet. He has good speed. Looks like he has good athleticism. He's kind of not just a 6'7", 6'8" wall that isn't going to have the most flexibility, but is just going to be able to bully people when he's able to stop them. But it's someone that still bullying the players he's playing right now. So we'll see how that translates to a college level. Maybe he goes to some camps and is playing well against other 3, 4, and 5-star prospects, and that could help him raise his stock. But I think it's really interesting that this is a different type of tackle prospect. Because
Mhm.
I guess he could have some flexibility to play guard, but I feel like he's mostly a tackle. I guess mostly a right tackle. So I don't know what's going to happen there, but like I think it's really fun to see a little bit of difference in the guys we're going after.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I kind of agree. Like at 6'6", you kind of assume they're probably not going to have him slide inside, but I guess it's possible. I mean, yeah, I think like you mentioned to me before, like playing on the right side, like even in high school, is interesting because you don't necessarily see
Mm-hmm.
that a ton with these guys. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm looking at his film. I think I can see like what you're saying, just very solid. Like doesn't look
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of these guys really win in high school just by their physicality, like
Yeah.
without being fundamentally sound or having good technique, or like they're just stronger and bigger, and so they win. I feel like you don't see a lot of that. Like it looks pretty clean. So yeah, I mean, of these project offensive linemen you're taking, maybe the least project of them, you could argue.
Yeah, if we're gonna look at the entire offensive line board, I think you can also look at Carr as maybe a little less of a project.
Hmm.
From what I've heard people say, I think he's like pretty well built for right now.
Yeah.
But I think you also so let's look at the entire O line class because now you have 4 commits. You have Chancellor Campbell, who right now is at left tackle, 6'8", massive human being, and then you have Janari Carr as well, who committed the first official visit weekend, and then you also now add Jakuyum and Lucas. So you're looking at it, and you have 3 tackles. Carr's a guard, and then we look at Lucas as a flex between a guard and a tackle. So it's like 2.5 tackles, 1.5 guards. Well, you look at Claude and Puma, who yesterday said Florida now leads for him. And he plans to commit end of June, early July. Only has a visit left in Nebraska. 6'7" true tackle, who's ranked 169th in the country. So would be our second highest ranked offensive line recruit in the Billy Napier era as of today. So you're probably going to want another true guard. Desmond Green, they're really high on, who just left after his visit as well. And there's some other guys they're looking at, but like we assumed we were going to take 5 offensive linemen this class. I was also told we were going to take 5, but now if you're looking at it, do they push and Puma out? Like, obviously they don't look at they look at the rankings, but they don't make their judgments on the rankings. But with such a disparity between being ranked 169th and your next highest guy being in the 400s, I feel like he's probably a better high school recruit than the other guys you're looking at. So I
Hmm.
wonder if we just end up going with 6 or if they just pass up on Puma.
I mean, passing up. I mean, I think if they pass up on Puma, that would say a lot about how they view,
Mm-hmm.
guys like Chancellor Campbell or Chikuyum. Like, I think that would say a lot because, I mean, again, a highly rated guy like the likes of which, like you said, the highest rated recruit of the Billy Napier, I think would be the highest rated true tackle Florida signed in I don't even know how
Yeah.
long. Um,
Richard
but
Garage in like 2018.
yeah, maybe. Honestly, maybe. So that'd be surprising to me if they pass on him. But I mean, yeah, you're looking at a pretty like full offensive line potentially. And I mean, it's not really a surprise. Like it's pretty clearly been an emphasis. They've targeted a lot of these guys, even looking at Emmanuel blanking on how you say his last name, but they were going for a lot of high level tackles in this class at one point. So they've definitely been aggressive about targeting offensive linemen. So not really surprised to see them potentially take a 6-0 lineman class, but that hasn't really been the MO so far under Billy Napier. So would be interesting for sure. But I mean, I would say just the fact that you're taking, these guys are takes, even with guys like Claude and Puma on the board, I think just does go to show. I mean, we'll see if they're right or wrong, but I think it just shows these guys are not just like the staff settling. Like the staff clearly thinks these are guys that are capable of being, developing into capable SEC players.
Yeah, the staff is going to live and die on their own opinions. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
if they fail, at least it's their fault. It's, you can't have any
Yeah.
excuses if they fail.
Yeah.
But next thing we're going to look at, who is going to be the next commit? I think the name we're looking at the most is probably Malik Morris, 4-star linebacker out of Lakeland, is taking a visit to Colorado and Missouri this week before the dead period closes. I wouldn't be shocked if we give him the commit before then. I wouldn't be shocked if he still wants to take those visits, though. I know he's a staffer on Missouri he's really close with, so that's just might be a respect thing. And, it could be cool to visit Dion in Colorado, although I don't think Dion is even in Colorado because he's had a surgery or something. Or he's been sick. So
yeah, he's out, the undisclosed illness or health issue of some kind for him. But yeah, he's been home in Texas for at least like the last month or so, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna make any comments on what I think there in this video, but like I doubt either of those teams are a real threat, and it's probably gonna be the Gators' way. Outside of that, outside of Morris, it's maybe we do get someone to close. I mean, Vodney Cleveland, it feels like it's going to be a real battle of Texas. He said he plans to commit the week after his Texas visit, so that would be within like the next 5 days. I don't know. I'm hearing a lot of good buzz for Texas, which might extend this recruitment. It might just be visit high. We don't really know yet. Trenton Henderson had a really good visit. I mean, I think he's going to take that Texas visit next weekend, but like, we'll see what happens. This staff has done a really good job this cycle during the official visit weekends to close on players. So we'll see. But do you got anything else to say about these commitments, Natuno?
No, I mean, I think, like, look, we've said it. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like Florida recruiting is so elite right now because you landed a couple of these guys. But like, again, as we've said a lot, there's a lot of time left. I think there's a chance that at least a couple of these low rated takes are going to be rated a lot higher by the time we get closer to signing day. And I mean, ultimately, I think I mean, there's things about this staff I don't trust, but their recruiting evaluations I generally do. I think they've been pretty good to this point. So, I think intriguing guys in Chikuyum and Lucas. Excited to see, sort of what role they step into when they get on campus and how they can kind of build out their frames a little bit. Cause I think both probably need to put on a little bit of weight, but a little bit of size. But I mean, I think two intriguing prospects.
Yeah. And something I just thought of that's really interesting. You look at all the recruits they brought in, including 4-stars, Roderick Kearney, Jason Zandamela, Fletcher Westfall, Caden Jones, and Marcus Maskell. Like those 4-star guys, there might be another one I'm not thinking of, might not be. But look who the recruits they've brought in who have played. Kinjaya Harris was a 3-star. He started last year, is going to start this year. And Bryce Levette, who was also a 3-star, who is probably going to start right tackle this year and was the 6th most on offensive line snaps last year. So they're hitting on 3-star guys already. And you had those 4-stars that we get this in the past years, and we'll probably get a couple this year. It's like they're hitting on them, they're developing. It's upsetting because you want to see us get those big time guys. You want to see that. You want to see you get that big 5-star offensive tackle that's going to be your starting left tackle for 2-3 years.
Yeah,
like that's going to be a top 10 draft pick. But it's just sometimes it's a better option to not do that and go spend that money elsewhere, because one 5-star offensive tackle could get you like 2 high 4-star prospects, 2 high 4-star linebackers or defensive linemen. Like offensive tackles cost a lot of money, but I'd like to thank you guys for watching this video. We will be live Sunday night, like always. Make sure you check that out. Drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Comment on the video. Give us your thoughts on these commitments. Subscribe to the channel. We'll appreciate it greatly. And we will see you guys next time. And as always, go Gators.